So after 7 years of being a full-time entrepreneur, I recently dusted off the old resume and went back to work. Got a full-time job, a 9 to 5 with benefits and all of that. And I want to talk about some things because I think this will help a lot of people and it'll help free up a lot of people because it freed me once I kind of got over some things. So um, as I said before, I quit my job I was 24 years old. I had a full-time job with the New York City Department of Education. Full-time job, great job. And it was like right out of college a little bit. So I was working there 2.5 years. I was 24 years old, and around this time, I really started to get the entrepreneurial bug. My dad and my stepmom, we were all on the same page. We had a business idea. We had an idea of something that we wanted to do, but we didn't know how we were going to do it. And then we started a YouTube channel and things like that, and we started to get some traction. I was in like a really good spot, meaning I didn't have any real debt. I was living at home. My mother had a used car, so I had no note. I had no kids. Me and my lady, I just needed like all my job was for was really, haircut money, some gas money, take my lady out on the weekend. So that was all like I really like all my responsibilities were. Okay. So um the way I saw it was if I was gonna quit my job and go full out, to start a business, that was the time, right? I had some money saved, and then my job at the time, they paid you out for PTO accrued, right? So I would go in early all the time. I would stay late all the time. And I had about like 40 days of PTO built up. And I knew I had some money saved. And I knew when I quit, they would have to pay me out for that as well. So I'm like, yo, I got a plan, right? And I remember the day I quit, like I think my supervisor like said something to me, and then somebody else threw me under the bus, like in an email that got CC to me by accident, and like it was just a lot. So I remember being fed up. I took an early lunch. I called my pops first. Okay, told him what I wanted to do. He goes, "Yo, bro, like listen, we're here." I called my lady, told her. She was like, "Hey, man, I support you. Do your thing." And then I called my mother because, like, my mother, you know what I mean? Like, that was the big one. I was like, I gotta tell my mother. So I told my mother, and I told her the plan, just like same way I kind of broke it down just now. And she was like, "Malcolm, I support you," right? So I went back in there, no lie, like I gave him a month. I didn't even give him 2 weeks. I gave him a whole 4 weeks. I wanted to close out all my cases. And then I started out my entrepreneurial journey. Okay. And since then, I put out my own book right here. Put out my own book. Me and my dad, we started our podcast, the Urban X Podcast. We had over 1 million downloads, 60 something thousand YouTube subscribers on our channel. We sold merch. We made over $1.1 million in revenue. And this year, 2025, January of this year, we stopped the podcast over 519 episodes. I think we had even more kind of bonus episodes than that. We had a membership. Like I said, we sold our own merch. We did a lot of amazing things. But in that time, as if you don't know, the entrepreneurial journey is, it is tough. It is a lot of peaks and valleys. And, I've learned so much on that journey. I've learned so much, and I'm still on the journey because I'm not stopping. I'm still building my business and things like that. But my life changed since then, right? I have 2 kids. I'm about to be a husband to my fiance, the mother of my children. I have a home. Like I have bills now. I have like adult responsibilities now. And the unstableness of the entrepreneurial world, I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was stressing me out. If you can see my hair, I'm 31, right? And I have more grays than some people that are older than me. And the stress of trying to figure it out, trying to get the business to work, trying to also be a present father, present partner, it was getting to me. And it got to the point where, and then, the podcast, the business that I was running with my family, it was going through some shifts as well. And it just got to the point where I just had to make a decision. And that wasn't, if you're watching this, if you are an Urban X podcast fan, that wasn't the reason why we stopped the show. But we were just kind of all personally going through shifts. I was 24, now I'm 31. I feel like I'm two different people than when we started the business to now. So we were going through so many different things that now this job, it just kind of freed up a lot of the stress that was kind of weighing on me. Like literally when I got the call that I got the job, it felt like 2 tons were literally lifted off my shoulder. You know what I mean? And the job, I'm not making like crazy money, but it feels good to just to have some regularity again in my income, because as you know, when you're a full-time entrepreneur, you eat what you catch. You know what I'm saying? So if business does well 1 month and it doesn't do well another month, you have to kind of figure that out. You have to get the money from somewhere. And my dad, and my stepmom, we were all pulling for each other. We were all sacrificing for each other, and they sacrificed a lot for me. You know what I mean? To make sure I had what I needed, and and then my kids had what they needed, and the house had what like we all pulled for each other. And now I'm able to kind of breathe a little easier. And one of the things that's come out of this is I'm able to think a lot clearer. When I have a business idea, when I have a something that I want to execute on, there's no rush to it as it was before. Like before, and I would say like the last like 3 years, everything needed to be like right now. Like I needed this to go now. I needed this to work. Like when you have an idea, when you have a business idea, you think of things in like you want to think of things in like the best case scenario, right? It's not realistic, but if everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, that's kind of how you're planning for it, right? You have to think of worst case scenario too. But sometimes that middle area where something, if you do it long enough, it will go. It will do the hockey stick up. But I was thinking such short term because I'm thinking of just like the now. I'm thinking I felt like I was living in a little like scarcity. Like I'm thinking now we need this to work now. I need this to work now. And now that I'm working full time, I have a job now. I can literally stretch a goal out, right? If I had a 6 month goal, I'm like, yo, I could do that in a year and a half, right? If I had a year goal, I could give a year to 3 years, 3 year goal, year to five, like you know what I mean? Because I had this thought when I was 24 that 30 was old, right? So I needed everything before I turned 30. I needed to be a millionaire before I turned 30. I needed to do this before I turned 30. Then I turned 30 and I got so much love, like so much love from everybody, because it felt like everybody knew the stress I was putting on myself. I'm really hard on myself, right? And on my lady, she took me out the country for my birthday, and then my dad and my stepmom for the podcast, right? They had like a live party, right, in my honor. And they had my pops and my stepmom, they had like my friends. I didn't even know they got in contact with them. They had my friends, my family kind of do these tribute videos to me, telling me like, yo, you're doing a great job, right? We're proud of you. You're doing a great job. So my thoughts on aging has changed, right? I love getting older. I love seeing my kids get older. I love talking about older things with my friends because there's no rush, right? I've been living in the future for so long and running the business. Like I want this to kind of happen in the future. And I was holding off my happiness until I got to that place for a long time. And some of you watching know that feeling. You know that feeling when you say, I'm not going to be happy until I get this. I'm not going to be happy until I have this much money in the bank. I'm not going to be happy until I look like this when I look in the mirror, or I have when I look at the scale. You know what I'm saying? And when you live in it now, it's just a better feeling. Now, there is a shift that's going on with me, right? Like my 4-year-old, he's never known me to not be always home. Because I was always, I worked my own schedule, I created my own schedule, and now I have to change that up. Now I'm like dropping him off to a school bus now, you know what I mean? And that was never the case. I was always there for pickup and drop off. And that shift, it does kind of hurt a little bit, you know what I mean? Because I'm not there all the time. But the job I got is really flexible, like, you know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate that. And again, I just appreciate the clear mind that it's given me. Now I'm able to build my business the right way, the way I taught people how to build their business. Because I always taught people this. The secret to a lot of these things, what we want is consistency, right? So the podcast me and my dad we've had it for 7 years, like I said. So we did over 500 and something episodes, 520 episodes. And that was consistent. That was our superpower because we were consistent, right? every Mondays and Thursdays we came on and people knew Malcolm and Dot is going to be there. Urban X Podcast is going to be there. But then at the same time, I was trying to grow the business in these short spurts, of inspiration. And then I would kind of burn myself out, and then I wouldn't stay consistent. And then I was mad at the lack of results I was seeing. Now I understand that consistency is always the goal. You always want to be 1% better every day that you wake up, no matter what it is, as a dad, as a partner, as an entrepreneur, as a whatever it is that you do. You always want to be 1% better every day. So getting this job, I think, will make me an even better entrepreneur, as I'm always thinking about, those dreams have not gone away, but now they're just different. Life isn't going to be perfect. Plans always aren't going to work out the way that you think they're going to work out, but you pivot and you make it work. And I'm excited for this new phase of life. So I'm taking you guys on the journey with me, and I decided to share. And it was crazy because for a really, really long time, the word job was it was synonymous with failure. I promise you. And it just was. I'm like, yeah, I made it. Like, I quit my job. I'm doing this thing full time. My bills are paid, but it's still it was a lot, right, that I just couldn't deal with. And you see the results, right? Like, if you go back on the Urban X Podcast channel and you look at some of them early episodes, I had a head full of black hair, right? And I didn't look stressed. But now you see it on my head, and I think I aged myself a few years. This could be genetic, but I feel like I aged myself these past few years, just putting a lot of unnecessary stresses on myself that now feel kind of lifted. And as I was saying, like, the word job was synonymous with failure, and for a long time, for a really, really, really long time. And now I understand how, again, short-sighted that was, how small I was thinking, how immature I was being as well, right? I was being really stubborn. I was being really immature. And I'm sharing this with you because if you think that you're behind because you haven't quit your job yet, or you think that you're wasting time at your job, if you think these things, I'm letting you know that you're not. It's not a waste of time. Like, use your job to fund your business. Use your job to ease some of the stresses that will inevitably come with running a business. Use your job to really hone in your skill set, because there are a lot of things that at your job that you're probably doing that you might not even realize will translate to becoming a great entrepreneur, which I'm going to talk about on this channel. Okay. Use your job to become a better worker. And that sounds a little contradictory, because you're going like, I don't want to be a worker, I want to be a boss. But you can never you're not going to be a good entrepreneur if you just think if you're a lazy employee. Those don't, you know what I mean? Because there needs to be work that needs to be put into your new business. So if you are hard worker, right, at everything that you do, that you want to be a hard worker in everything you do. So if you're a hard worker, then that can translate over to your job as well. The skills and which the task might not translate, but the effort that you'll put in will translate into your business. So use your job. And I always reference Ryan Holiday in some type of way, but in one of his books, The Ego is the Enemy, he mentions a chapter that he actually referenced Malcolm X in. He talks about, it's called Dead Time or Live Time, right? And when Malcolm X was in jail, he talked about always using that time for something, getting better, right? He copied and wrote every word in the dictionary out. He used that quote unquote dead time as a live time. So if you think 8 hours at your job is dead time, use it somehow, use it some type of way. Find the space that you can make it your own, right? Find the space that you can strengthen that focus muscle, because focus is paramount when it comes to running a business. I talked about being distracted by all of the different people on social media and all of the different voices and stuff like that. If you are able to just lock in and focus, that translates over to your business. if you're able to be proactive, if you're able to think with the end in mind in your daily tasks and things like that, that translates over to your business. And then, like I said, you can start to create you can start to, come up with your products and things like that. Then you can have a little advertising budget. You know what I mean? And then you can help grow your business a little bit faster. But don't look down on your job. Don't look down on yourself for having a job. I'm not looking down on myself for getting a job. I'm actually very proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud that I'm doing what it takes, no matter what. No matter what. Like, the dreams and aspirations that you can have are great, but the feeling of being able to provide for your family, to be able to just kind of sleep comfortably, knowing that you're doing what you need to do, you cherish that. You don't feel bad about that. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to be taking you on this journey with me, and I'm glad you're here. If you want to continue this, don't forget to subscribe. And the next few videos that I got coming out, they're going to be bangers. Like, we're going to be getting into a lot of amazing things about, starting a business, even with a job. How do you actually do this? Because, as I mentioned, I know what I'm talking about. I've done a lot. I had a successful podcast, wrote my own book. So we sold our own merch. We had our own digital products. We've done a lot. And I'm here on this channel to dump it all out. And also, again, bring you on this journey with me as I become a better version of me. And I want you to become a better version of you. All right. So with that being said, I'm Malcolm. Peace.